This is the Louie T Network.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report Live. Live and in color. Don't diss the man, because I'll bum rush him up. Redskins fresh off of their Week 5 bye. And it was much needed after the debacle that was the Monday night game versus the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of the injuries. And so hopefully you all out there as Redskins fans had a chance to recharge the battery. It's been a roller coaster ride already thus far in this young NFL season for the good guys in burgundy and gold. You lose in week 1 in ugly fashion to the Philadelphia Eagles at home. You go and get a big win on the road versus our ex-chum Sean McVay and the fighting Los Angeles Rams to get back to 501-1 on the season. Then we're staring 2 straight primetime games in the face against tough AFC West opponents in the Raiders and Chiefs respectively. You blow out the Raiders in convincing and surprising fashion. And then you go and you play toe-to-toe with arguably one of the best, if not the best team in all of the National Football League in the Kansas City Chiefs, but just fall short in a game that you probably should have won, which leaves you at 500 at 2-2 going into a bye week and having a chance to assess the rest of the league. And I hope you took that bye week, you took that chance with no Redskins games or game in front of you to assess the rest of the league, to see where the Redskins stack up among the other 31 teams in the National Football League. So I hope you took the opportunity to see what's out there, to kind of gauge where this team is in the landscape of the National Football League. I did exactly that. And even though I watch all the games every week, this week was especially eye-opening for me, because I took a look around at the landscape of the league, and I came away with a couple of different opinions, strong ones, that I will share with you a little bit later on in this program. Some that will blow your mind, some that will probably make you think that I'm crazy, and others that you might agree with. In any event, there are going to be some strong declarations made on this program tonight. So stick around for that. But in any event, thank you for joining me today, man. It's good to be back in front of the family after that 1-week hiatus. And hopefully the Redskins have rested up. They needed that R&R. Hopefully they're able to come back off the bye week strong and dispose of the team that they're supposed to beat in the San Francisco 49ers. And you won't hear those words be uttered out of these lips very often, but there are certain teams in this league that I made these declarations before the season started. And the Jets, the Browns, and the 49ers were those 3 teams that I said, if these teams are on your schedule and you play them at home, especially at home, but really it doesn't matter where you play these teams. If they're not in your division and you play the Jets, Browns, and 49ers, especially at home, you better beat them or you're not a playoff team. You can't go to the playoffs. You don't get a ticket to the dance. You can't go to the show if you can't defend your home turf versus the likes of the Browns, Jets, or 49ers. Simple as that. Now, really, it doesn't matter where those games are. Could be in London, could be at home, could be on the road. You need to beat those teams if you're looking to make the postseason. Here's our opportunity to take out one of those teams in the San Francisco 49ers. We need to take full advantage of this opportunity, and so we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. But if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game over here as all Redskins know, we're trying to change the game here on the Louie T Network. Want you guys to help me do that by simply hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already done so to become a member of the Louie T Network. I've got a number of social media platforms that I'm a part of, and it'll allow you to stay in tune to what's going on here on the Louie T Network. So go ahead and follow me on my various social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. All those links are in the description below this video, so check those out as well. And if you are able to, you are gracious enough to, please donate to the Louie T Network. That is the way you are able to do it, via PayPal. There will be alternate ways to donate here in the near future, but as of right now, that is your primary source to donate. That link is also in the description below. So if you are able to donate and try to help further this channel along, please, I urge you to do so. Thank you in advance for any donation that you are capable of giving. And if you can't, all I ask is that you continue to support this channel the way that you have in the past, which is watching, liking, and sharing these videos. With that being said, I want to jump into the program tonight. We've got a lot to discuss. And the first thing I want to jump into is the 7-on-7. So let's jump into that right now. And my 7-on-7 is a little bit different, just like it was a couple of weeks ago when after the Raiders win, we kind of took a micro and macro approach to the 7-on-7. Wasn't a true traditional 7-on-7, biggest takeaways from the defense, 7 takeaways from the offense in the previous week's game. It was more of a look at the season, a micro and a macro look at the season, and a look at that particular game and what it meant for the season and our expectations and had they changed. And it was pretty much an open forum between myself and the Redskin faithful that were in attendance in that particular episode. This is going to be a similar type of 7-on-7. Looking for some comments from you guys. But this 7-on-7, I'm listing the 7 top takeaways from the Chiefs loss and the bye week going into week number 6. So I'm giving you the top 7 Chiefs loss and bye week takeaways. It's what's coming your way on the 7-on-7 this week. And if you haven't been here before and you don't know how this works, simply I'm listing the 7 most important things that I have learned from that Chiefs loss and the bye week this past week without the Redskins playing. And I go in the sequential order of 7 being the least important. It's still important because it's on the list, but 7 being the least important, 1 being the utmost importance. The most important thing that I've learned and the biggest takeaway from the Chiefs loss or the bye week action around the National Football League as pertaining to our beloved Skins. So with that being said, we'll start at number 7. And my first takeaway is Kirk Cousins can't be our leading rusher, and Josh Doctson is coming. So in that Chiefs loss, and we're not going to talk a whole hell of a lot about that Chiefs loss because it was 2 weeks ago and we're ready to move on. But we do have to put a bow on it, as we do here every single week that we have this program. We put a bow on the past game and move forward to the next game, the upcoming game. And so we'll do that here. Despite that game having been 2 weeks ago, we are still going to put a bow on that Chiefs loss, as tough as it may be to go back that long. It seems like an eternity ago, but nonetheless, Kirk Cousins was the leading rusher in that game. As you can see the stats scrolling across the top of the screen, that can't happen. In our 2 losses this season, Kirk Cousins was our leading rusher. In that Philadelphia Eagles loss in week 1, Kirk Cousins was our leading rusher in that game. In our week 4 loss against the Kansas City Chiefs, Kirk Cousins was our leading rusher. In any game that he leads our team in rushing, we're probably going to lose, because that probably meant that we either A, didn't stay balanced, or B, we weren't able to run the football effectively, putting us in some very long down and distances. We have to stay balanced. We have to stay out of 3rd and long. We need to be consistently either converting on first and second down or getting into some third and manageables that we can convert and move the sticks and stay on the field offensively. In that Chiefs game, we either were getting chunk plays or we weren't getting anything. And I thought we ran the football effectively early on with Rob Kelly before he got injured. And I thought we ran it somewhat effectively with Samaje Perine when he was in the game until he fumbled that toss, and everybody got pissed off at that point. And so because of that fumbled toss, that was his last touch, his last snap of the game. And really, at that point, then we saw Kirk Cousins kind of take over and start to run and use his legs, which is great. We want him to do that. But in him doing that, he can't lead the team in rushing. That's a problem. That means our backs aren't getting the job done. That means up front, we're not dominating the line of scrimmage the way that we know this team is capable of. And that means we're not staying balanced because there's no reason Kirk Cousins should be our leading rusher in any game moving forward. And we've seen that when he is our leading rusher, that's a problem. And if that happens, most likely it's leading to a Redskins loss. So Kirk Cousins can't be our leading rusher moving forward. We want him to use his legs when the opportunity arises, but he still has no business leading this team in rushing in any given game moving forward. And Josh Doctson is coming. I think last week's or 2 weeks ago's game in Week 4 versus the Chiefs on Monday night was a very encouraging game. Despite him nicking himself up, which we've seen him do in the past, he came back into the game. He gutted it out. And I think that was one of the most encouraging games that we've seen from Josh Doctson. Even though there weren't a ton of plays in that game for him, I still want to see the snap count go up. And I think it will once they know he's going to play and he's going to be in the lineup. It's a lot easier. I think a lot of us asked the question after that Chiefs loss, what happened to Jamison Crowder? Why didn't J.C. Ice touch the football more? Well, the coaching staff didn't know if he was going to play or not. And what you have to know about the NFL is that if a player isn't quite sure if he's going to be able to go, if the team, more importantly, and the coaching staff isn't able to determine whether a player is going to be able to go or not, you can't game plan for that player to be in the game. You understand what I'm saying? You can't game plan to get Jamison Crowder to the football because there are specific plays that you draw up with Jamison Crowder being the number one option on that particular play. And so there may be 7 plays that you have on your sheet that Jay Gruden has on his sheet that are specifically drawn up for Jamison Crowder to get the football, to win one-on-one matchups against zone, to win one-on-one matchups against man coverage, zone beaters, man beaters, whatever the case. These plays are for Jamison Crowder to win in the slot. And if he's not playing, you don't implement those throughout the course of the week. You just don't. So you don't call plays where he's the primary. He'll be on the field and he'll be running a route and he may be open, but he's the third option on that play. Kirk's not looking for him because he's the third option. He may look to the first option. He may not even be working the side of the field that Jamison Crowder is on because he's the third option on that play. He may go, all right, Terrell Pryor's the first option. Vernon Davis is the second option. And if those two aren't open, I'm checking it down to Chris Thompson out of the backfield. That may be his progression, even though there's a third option and a fourth option with 2 receivers on the backside of the play in Crowder and Grant. He's not even looking over there because he's working the right side of the field where he knows he's got some looks, and these guys are his primary reads on this play. And so if Crowder is playing and you know he's going to go, then you can implement some things into the scheme, into the game plan to get him the football. I think with the coaching staff right now, they didn't feel like they could count on Josh Doctson. They're gaining confidence in his ability to not only A, make plays, but B, most importantly, stay healthy. And if he's healthy and he's practicing, they can implement some plays and put specific plays in the game plan to get him some opportunities. And I think we're going to see more of Doctson coming of age right before our very eyes as this season progresses. And I think Terrell Pryor is going to start making more plays, but specifically, Josh Doctson is the guy that I think us as Redskins fans are looking towards to be that next big thing at the receiver position because Terrell Pryor is on a 1-year deal. And we haven't been that impressed with him thus far in the season. That doesn't mean he's not going to play better as the season progresses, but he's on a one-year deal. There's no telling if he'll be back in D.C. next year. We know Doxson will be back next year, and the year after that, and the year after that if the Redskins want him back, as he's got a 5-year contract or a 4-year contract with an option for a 5th year because of being a first-round pick. So he's going to be around for a while if the Redskins want him around for a while. So we need him, of all of these guys, to step up because he's the one guy that we look at and say, hey, he's got number 1 wide receiver potential written all over him, and he's going to be here for a while. We need him to step up, and I think Josh Doxson is coming after watching him the last 2 weeks and what he is capable of doing. Big catch in the Raiders game for a touchdown, a huge diving catch versus the Chiefs, and the almost grab that could have won the game. And it was a great stab by Doxson to go up and get it. Just wasn't able to hold on to it throughout the catch. And so we feel like we've got one here. If he can just stay healthy, I think Josh Doxson is coming. You go to number 6. Eliminate the mistakes, and we can play with anybody. That's another takeaway that I left that Chiefs game saying to myself is, if we can eliminate mistakes. In the 2 games that we lost, we were very sloppy, whether it be turnovers or penalties or whatever the case may be, or a combination of both. If we eliminate the mistakes, we can play with anybody in this league. There's no doubt in my mind, after watching all the games on this bye week and actually kind of having a chance to kind of just exhale, decompress, and just watch the games with an open mind and an open eye, more importantly, I'm watching all kinds of nonsense happen around the league, and I'm saying to myself, there's not a team out there that we can't beat if we eliminate the turnovers, we eliminate the penalties, we eliminate the mental mistakes, just the mistakes in general. When we beat the Los Angeles Rams, we didn't make any mistakes in that game. No turnovers. We didn't have a ton of penalties in that game. There were a couple of mental mistakes. Gave up a big play to a tight end for about 69 yards that set up the first touchdown in the game for the Rams when we were up 13-0 and had a chance to put that game away if we could have got one more stop. Got to eliminate the mental mistakes. Got to eliminate the physical mistakes. Got to eliminate the turnovers. Got to eliminate the penalties. If we can do those things, because that's what the best teams in the league do. That's what the Chiefs don't beat themselves. I said that a million times on that Monday Night Football overtime telecast, is that the reason the Chiefs are so good, the reason they're the only undefeated team left in the league right now, is because they don't beat themselves. They're a good football team. They're well coached, and they do not beat themselves. They just don't. If you're going to beat the Chiefs, you're going to have to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't going to help assist you in beating them, and that's what we have to learn how to do, not help the opposition beat us. And we helped the Chiefs on Monday night. We helped the Eagles in week 1 with 4 turnovers. Who are you going to beat in this league with 4 turnovers? Just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I watched the Rams lose to the Seahawks on Sunday in a game that they lost by 6 because they turned the football over 5 times. Had they not turned it over 5 times, they beat the Seattle Seahawks and probably beat them going away. But they turned it over 5 times. You're not going to win in this league turning it over 5 times. You're not going to win in this league most weeks turning it over 4 times like we did in week 1. Eliminate the mistakes, eliminate the penalties, eliminate the turnovers, and we can play with anybody. That's what that Chiefs game said to me. Made too many mistakes in that game, too many penalties, too many drop passes, too many mistakes in that game to win. There were no turnovers except for the final play of the game. Who gives a damn about that one? We got to eliminate the mistakes. If we do that, there's not a team out there that I don't think we can't beat. We can play with anybody in this league as it stands right now. Number 5, and after this, I'm going to take a break and get to your comments. We must dominate at home. It's so hard to win on the road in this league. We got to win at home. We already lost a game at home. We can't lose many more games at home this season. If we're serious about making the playoffs, more importantly, if we're serious about winning this division, we got to win at home. We threw one away to the Eagles in week 1. That can't happen the rest of the season. We got too many tough road games to be throwing away games at home. We have to go. Right now, realistically, the number is 6-2 at home. Okay, you're probably going to slip up and get got by somebody down the road at the crib, whether it be somebody in the division or somebody outside of it. You probably are going to get got by somebody at some point at the crib once more. We've got to minimize the amount of games that we lose at home, because the thought process before the season starts is go at least 6-2 at home, 4-4 on the road. You're 10-6. You got a shot to make the postseason. All right. Now, anything over that on either side of the spectrum, or at either end of the spectrum, I should say, and you got something. You go 7-1 at home and 4-4 on the road. Boom, you're 11-5. You're making the playoffs. Not too many 11-win teams miss the postseason. Every now and again it happens, but it's rare. All right, and I can tell you this much: in this division, in this conference, 11 wins generally gets you in the show, gets you a ticket to the dance. So anything over 6-2, anything over 4-4 on the road, and you're playing with house money at that point. So we've already dropped one at the crib. We got to protect the house. It starts on Sunday versus the San Francisco 49ers. We cannot let anybody come into FedEx Field and expect to win. We have to start taking care of business at the crib. It's too tough to win on the road in this league consistently. The good teams do it, okay? The good teams find ways to win on the road. It's tough, but the good teams find a way to do it. We think we're a good team, so we should be able to go on the road and win. But it's a lot tougher to go out on the road and win than it is to win at home. We must protect the house. We must protect the crib. We got to find ways to win at FedEx if we're going to try to make a run at the NFC East crown in 2017. Let's get to some of your comments before we move back to the 7-on-7. Let's get to some of your comments, see what you guys have to say. All right. SW Mike says, do you think Jay Gruden should have ran Chris Thompson on that 4th and 2 instead of kicking a field goal? No, I don't think we should have run, because if you remember on that 3rd and 2, we took a shot at the end zone. But if you remember correctly, we gained, if I'm not mistaken, we gained, I want to say 8 yards on first down, which got us to 2nd and 2. We tried to run it, and Chris Thompson got stopped for no gain, which set up that 3rd and 2. And then we took the shot to Doxson in the end zone. I don't really love Chris Thompson in between the tackles. As a matter of fact, I would have liked to have seen that 2nd and 2 run be a toss, something to the outside, getting to the edge, instead of something up the middle, something quick and something in between the tackles. But I was not comfortable running the football in that situation. And we're going to run, we were going to try to go for it in that situation. And there was no reason to, because a field goal tied the game up there. So you had to kick it. But 4th and 2, if you're going to go for it, you got to throw it. You know, and we got the weapons to be able to pick up 2 yards. We should have had it on 3rd and 2, to be honest with you. So in any event, no, you got to take the field goal there. C. Brunson says, y'all make sure you put the hashtag Louie T Live or he won't read your comments. Thank you, C. Brunson. Let him know. Make sure you use the hashtag Louie T Live if you want your comment to be read on the air. JJ Rockstar says, I'm going to miss Norman, no doubt, but I must say our front seven is playing some outstanding football. They're coming along nicely. It's refreshing to see this team, and I talked about this before the season started, that if these guys were what we thought they were going to be, and I was flat wrong about DJ Swearinger. I knew he was athletic, but I didn't think he would be as good as he's been. If he was as advertised, and more importantly, Zach Brown was as advertised, we were going to be a much faster defense, something that we haven't been defensively in quite some time. And that's the biggest part of the front seven is Zach Brown and Mason Foster. Adding a little bit more athletic. Mason Foster is the most athletic guy out there, but he can run. He can hold his own. Zach Brown is an animal, sideline to sideline. He can run with the best of them. And now Preston Smith is in the best shape of his career. And I think our front seven right now, with the addition of Jonathan Allen and arguably the the most improved player on this roster is Matt Ioannidis, and he's running around like an athletic freak himself. He's in some great shape too. You look at this front seven; it's starting to come along, man. It's coming along at a very, very high, rapid rate, and that's probably been one of the biggest changes to this defense as to why we've seen such a vast improvement so quickly, along with the coaching that they're receiving from these defensive coaches. It's been outstanding. Corey Fitterman says, "What's good, fam? How do you feel about Q-Bar taking the number 2 corner spot till Josh gets back?" I'm comfortable with it. The one thing that I am confident in is our corners. The one thing that scares me is that when Josh, now that you have had time to prepare, see, our defensive coordinator, Greg Minuski, didn't go into that Chiefs game expecting to have to call plays without Josh Norman. So when that happens and your plans change on the fly, you have to make sure that you don't give up anything deep. So we saw a lot of off coverage, a lot of soft and off. I'm not a huge fan of soft and off. And we didn't see a ton of that early on in the season when Norman was in the game. So that was refreshing. Guys were having to earn everything that they got. Breland was up in press coverage, man-to-man. Norman was aggressive. Our corners across the board, our secondary across the board was aggressive. In that game against the Chiefs, yeah, they got guys that can run, especially Tyreek Hill. You want to give up a little bit of space. But with Norman not being on the field, I think everyone was a little bit more cautious because now that single high safety, he can't just shade over to Bree's side. He can't just go to Vitamin B's side and say, okay, J-No's got his side locked down, so I can kind of cheat towards Vitamin B's side so he can be a little bit more aggressive at the line of scrimmage because he knows he's got safety help over the top. That's not necessarily the case now because you can't say, okay, Q-Bar's got his side of the field locked down, so now I can kind of help out Vitamin B. You kind of got to play it and just be wary of both of those guys. And I think that in itself now makes those corners a little bit more cautious with their approach. So now that makes them kind of take a couple steps back. And now you see those underneath completions, those 5-yard hitches and stops being completed. And on 3rd and 6, they're giving up 8 yards on an easy completion. Those things infuriate me. And you saw more of those with Norman out. Now I'm hoping that he's had time to kind of digest the fact that, okay, yeah, Josh Norman's not going to be playing for at least the next couple of games. We need to find a way to be a little bit more tighter in our coverage without compromising the back end and necessarily giving up any big plays. So hopefully the adjustment has been made. I have no problems with Q-Bar being out there. As a matter of fact, I'm confident that Q-Bar can get it done. I am confident that Q-Bar can get it done. I'm only nervous when we start putting the young guys in there at the cornerback position. If you tell me Halsey's got to come out there, that makes me nervous. Even though I think the young fella can ball, it makes me nervous because I don't know what I'm getting. When you tell me Fab Moreau's got to go out there, I know Fab Moreau is capable, but I don't know that young man yet. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I've seen Q-Bar, when pressed into action, get the job done, like he did on Monday night. I'm confident that Q-Bar can get the job done. I've seen Q-Bar in these types of situations play solid football for us, so I'm not nervous at all. It's when you tell me the young fellas got to come in, when Fab Moreau's got to come in, possibly now with the injury to Norman, you're going to move up a guy like Joshua Halsey to give you 5 corners out there. That's when you get nervous. When you're telling me there's a rookie 3rd-string safety in the game, I'm nervous as hell. You know, I don't know these dudes. So I'm confident with Q-Bar being in the game. C. Brunson says, showing our age with that bum rush your mother line, LOL, respect. Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, that is showing our age a little bit, ain't it? Oh, man. Roger Arthur says, Brandon Sheriff is the best guard in the NFL. What do you think? Hail to our beloved Redskins. He's one of the best. Brandon Sheriff, I was so wrong about him. I remember when I broke down his tape, I didn't think he was that mean. I didn't think he was that physical. While at Iowa, I said, I'm missing what everybody's been telling me, that this guy's so physical. And there were a couple of Redskin fans that were like, no, this guy's physical. I don't know what you're watching, but he's physical. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. I'm not one of these dudes that just runs with what somebody tells me. I need to see it with my own two eyes. And the dude is physical, man. He's mean. He's tough. He's a sumbitch. And I love it. It's the type of griminess that you need. Him and Trent Williams, they two nasty, physical, grimy dudes on that offensive line. And if we can get the rest of our guys to be physical and grimy like those two, we got ourselves a hell of an offensive line. So Brandon Sheriff, without a doubt, is one of the best guards in all of the National Football League. And I'm anxious to see how high his ceiling is if he continues to stay healthy, man. This guy, I think, could be, an all-pro this year potentially with the way that he's playing right now. So we'll see. Amic89 says, do you think that was a fumble when Fabian ripped the ball out on that last drive because that guy wasn't down? I was hoping it was a fumble. I rewinded that play, that particular play that you're referencing, about 7 times, watched it in slow-mo. He was down. And I wanted him to not be down so bad. I wanted that football so bad. He was down. What happened was his forearm went down and his ass cheek hit the ground. So he was down. I wanted him to not be down so bad. I was hoping that when he rolled him over, when he flipped him over, that no part of his body ever touched the ground. But when Fab ripped him over, his elbow, his forearm hit the ground on that first rip over. And then as he slammed him over on the ground and the ball got ripped out, his ass cheek hit the ground as well. So he was down. I was looking. You best bet I was looking hard for that man to not be down. He was down. SW Mike says, feel like this upcoming game will be a close one rather than a blowout. We're going to talk about that, SW Mike. We are going to talk about that indeed. DC Big Oso says, I think the offense will be on the same page this weekend. Your thoughts? We're going to get to that when we get to the bow and go a little bit later on in the program. DC Big Oso says, I think our defense has already played the best offense 2 weeks ago in the Kansas City Chiefs. Your thoughts? I don't know if that's the best offense. It's one of the best offenses. I tell you this much. They're the hardest offense to prepare for because of all of the different motions and all of the different guys that can hurt you on any given play. We struggle. We still struggle with the tight end. They've got arguably the best in the league in Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill is a freak. And we were basically able to reduce him to next to nothing in the game, but still having to worry about him getting a jet sweep handoff or a handoff out of the backfield or catching a short pass and it turning into a big one or catching a deep pass or punt return. It's just so hard to prepare for all the things that they bring to the table. And then Alex Smith using his legs and playing out of his mind right now. You could argue that the Chiefs are the best offensive team in the league right now. They're the hardest to prepare for, I can tell you that much. And it was good to know that we were able to go toe-to-toe with them despite their success on offense this year. We were able to keep them relatively in check. We just couldn't get off the field on third downs. That was our biggest Achilles heel in that game, is that we simply could not get off the field on third downs. Sean A. McGee says, mistakes were the monster, which was Preston Smith. If you were coaching him, how would you approach/correct him? Hopefully you'd give him hell. Those were just mental lapses. You don't really come down on a guy but so hard for that. Basically what you tell him is, bruh, you standing up. All you got to do is look down the line and find the ball and make sure that you're behind it. It's really simple. And you don't move until that ball moves. Don't allow a cadence or a quarterback's hard count to get you. Watch the football. That's it. Watch the football. Either that or you go off first movement of the guy in front of you. The minute he moves, he flinches, he comes out of his stance, you go. Other than that, you don't listen to the quarterback's cadence because that can get you got. You're either watching the ball or the man in front of you. Either one moves, you go. And so that's what I would tell him. That's how I would coach him up. Those are just mental lapses by Preston Smith. Easily avoidable. And so I wouldn't kill him, but I'd be damn right. I'd be mad and I'd be disappointed because those are avoidable mistakes. Pre-snap penalties are avoidable. Those are mental mistakes. Anything that happens during the play is a physical mistake. Anything before the snap is a mental mistake. Those are the ones that I can't tolerate. I can't tolerate pre-snap penalties because they are avoidable. Those are mental. That's all up here. The ones that happen during the course of the game, during the course of the play, I can't be mad at those. Those are physical. You don't want a guy to go hands to the face like Vitamin B did, but it happens. You don't want a guy horse collaring a player like Vitamin B did, but it happens. You don't want pass interference, illegal contact, but they happen in the course of the game. Things happen. You know, the one post-snap penalty that I can't stand is blocking the back, because that's stupid. Because a lot of times you can see the guy's number. You know you're not in front of him. You know you're not on the side of him. Why are you blocking him? That's dumb. If you're a receiver, don't pick up a holding penalty. Let him go. If that running back's gotten to you already, most likely he's already picked up 8 to 10 yards. Let the defender go. But again, those pre-snap penalties, it's all mental. And that's basically what I would tell him. You can't have it. Greg Cole says, we are going to completely dominate the 49ers. This will be a great confidence boost after that Monday night loss heading back to Monday night. I hope you're right. I'm not as confident as you that that's what's going to happen. But in any event, we need to dominate. But will we dominate? I don't know about that. We'll see. C. Brunson says, we need another big game from your brother to welcome back Garcon and Kyle. Family reunion, LOL. I want Garcon to feel foolish for leaving us. Hey, he ain't going to feel foolish because the man is getting paid. We weren't going to pay him the way the 49ers are paying him, and so he was going to leave because there were greener pastures out there for him. We miss him, no doubt about that, but he was chasing money. At this point in his career, he wanted to be paid, and he got paid. I'm not mad at him, but it is a family reunion. One that we need to take care of business, just like earlier in the season when we went up against Sean McVay and the Rams. That was a family reunion of sorts. Joe Barry was on that staff, and we needed to take care of business then. We did. We need to take care of business now. Hopefully we will. C. Brunson says, injury impact versus Niners. We'll talk about that. HTTR Chris 27 says, do you think there's any chance the Skins give P-Ron the Matt Jones treatment and keep him on the inactive list in favor of Mac Brown? No, I don't think there's a chance of that happening. Look how much Matt Jones had to F up for that to happen to him. And I know that he was more of a McLuhan guy, but it didn't matter. Matt Jones got every chance to rectify the situation, and he just couldn't. P-Ron doesn't have a fumbling issue as of yet. The one fumble that he had, he got hit on the hand and hurt himself, had to leave the game. I'm not excusing the fumble, but there was a reason for it. And then last game with the toss, that's just mental, man. That's just you not focusing on the pitch. It's not hard. Catch the football first. He wanted to go make a play before he secured the rock, and you can't make a play without securing the rock first. As I always say, you can't run and gun, you can't have fun, you can't ball without the ball. He tried to run and gun and have fun and ball without the ball. You can't do that. And so it pissed me off because at the juncture of the game that we were at, we couldn't afford that to happen. He killed a scoring drive. We were on the move, and that fumbled pitch on 2nd and 4 lost us 8 yards and turned and if you go back and watch the all 22s, if he catches that pitch, he might score. I mean, the blocking on that play was incredible, okay? If you go watch the all 22s on that pitch, we've got the cavalry out in front. He's got nothing but space and opportunity. If he makes the right cut, he's off to the races down the sidelines. I'm not sure he doesn't score on that play. That was probably the most frustrating part of that play. When you go back and watch, you say, God damn it, if you just caught the goddamn football. If that was Chris Thompson, there's no doubt in my mind that's a touchdown. So that was the most frustrating part about that. I don't think they're going to do that to him, though. And for some reason, and we can't explain it, don't ask me. I don't know the answer. They just won't activate Mac Brown and give him a shot. I don't know. I thought that was the game for Mac Brown to actually be active and get an opportunity in some non-garbage time action. And they made him inactive. So I can't anticipate him being active this next game. I expect Rob Kelly to be healthy, P. Ryan to be active, Chris Thompson to be active, and they roll with their 3 backs. So we'll see what happens. Jeff P. says, do you think Fabian Moreau will be serviceable at the second corner spot? That Reaper won't go away were going down like flies. I think they're going to go with Q-Bar first. And you may see some intermingling with those corners throughout the course of the game, guys coming in and out. But for the most part, it'll be Vitamin B on the number 1 side, and I think Q-Bar will be on that number 2 side, and that's the way they're going to play it. And you may see guys come in and out. You may see Fab Moreau if something were to happen to one of those two, or one of those guys gets extremely tired. But for the most part, I think you're going to see those two with Fuller still in the slot. So we'll see what happens, but the more Fab Moreau plays, the more confidence they will gain in him, and thus the more confidence us as fans will have in him if he were pressed into service. So we'll see what happens. Abdul Tate says, do you think Terrell Pryor can get through the struggles he's having right now catching the rock? Yeah, I think he will. I think he's just got to settle down. He's thinking too much. He's trying to make a big play on every play. And the drop on Monday night in Week 4 versus the Chiefs, that was just, he was scared. He didn't want to get hit. That's what that was about. He alligator armed that football. That wasn't about concentration or trying to make a play before he caught the football. That was, hey, this safety is coming down and he's going to smash me. And that's just not knowing how to protect yourself. Jordan Reed had a similar play on the same route, a slant, later on in the game. And what did he do? He protected himself. He caught the football, did a little pirouette spin. There are a number of ways that you can protect yourself from a safety that's screaming down and light you up on a slant. And Terrell Pryor hasn't been a receiver long enough to be able to figure out the best way for him, because everybody's got their own methods. Pierre Garçon is a guy that would catch that slant, lower his shoulder, and even go down. Deshaun Jackson, he'll catch that slant and fall right down and avoid contact. Terrell Pryor could have caught that one and been like Jordan Reed and just did a spin and grazed off that contact and kept it moving. But he was just scared. So I think he's going to be fine. We're going to find out what he's made of, because I think as more time passes, he becomes more comfortable with this offense. He's going to start assimilating himself better. And the only thing that I worry about is that with these drops, him not running routes at the proper depth, things of that nature, that Kirk Cousins is going to stop looking his way, stop trying to get him the football, and start working other guys like Ryan Grant, Josh Doxson, and Jamison Crowder and the tight ends, and just say to hell with Pryor. That's my only fear, is that you keep effing up, you keep dropping passes, you keep running routes at the improper depth, I'm going to stop coming to you. So we're going to see. We're not there yet. We're going to see what happens. I think he's going to get better as the season progresses. C. Brunson says, why do you think we don't do any of the shovel passes that's been killing the league with the line and the counter out? Let me see what he said. With the line and the CT out should be an easy 7 to 97 yards. Really, I think you'll see the shovel pass. We've run it once already this year. We have run it. I'm trying to think of the game. I want to say we ran it in that Rams game, and it was not successful. So I think we've run it already this year once. In any event, or it might have been the Raiders game. It wasn't successful when we ran it. I know that much. I think it might have been the Raiders game. It was not successful when we did run it. Bottom line is, that's something that you can use if you practice it and you use it at the right time. It is deadly. We've seen the Chiefs do it. We saw the greatest two-point conversion play I've ever seen in my life was executed by the Bears just yesterday. And that was somewhat of it was a handoff to the running back who tossed it to the tight end, who then shoveled it out to the who optioned it out to the quarterback who walked in for a two-point conversion. It was gorgeous. We're seeing more of the shovel pass. If you have the personnel, if you block it up correctly, if you sell it correctly, it'll work. The Eagles run it all the time. Andy Reid loves the shovel pass. He used to run it in Philadelphia all the time. So in any event, let's get back to the 7-on-7. Let me hit this Jonas McConan comment quickly. What do you think of Q-Bar using his size to cover tight ends? I think his size and speed gives him a good chance. That would be interesting, but they're going to put him out wide. He's going to be covering receivers. Normally, your safeties and your linebackers cover tight ends. I think that if Monte Nicholson can stay healthy, if we can get DeShazer Everett, more comfortable. He's an X corner. Doesn't have quite the size as Q-Bar has, as you mentioned, but DeShazer Everett is a guy that can cover tight ends. I think they like him in that setting. And so we'll see. Monte Nicholson definitely has the size and the athleticism to run with tight ends. So I think, but they like him further back as that single high safety because of his range. So we'll see. Swearinger has been the guy when it's not Everett that's been coming down over the tight end and covering these tight ends man to man. We did see our nickel corner get beat, Kendall Fuller get beat against Travis Kelce on a huge third down, the first third down conversion of the game for the Chiefs on that post route over the middle of the field for about 20 yards, which kind of jump-started the Chiefs offensively. Really, after that, they really didn't punt the remainder of the game. So we'll see what happens, but I don't anticipate Q-Bar covering the other team's tight end, but we will see. Let's get back to the 7-on-7, and we're at number 4. And number 4 for me is the second quarter of our season will determine the direction of our season. And so I want you to take a look at the schedule for the next 4 games, and what you see before you is a stretch that is tough but doable. And if you're serious about making a push for the playoffs, 1, 2 for the division, you have to go and win some tough ball games. And so this first game against the 49ers, you don't sleep on any opponent. They say any given Sunday for a reason. The 49ers aren't to be slept on at all. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as we get into the bow and go. But got to have it at home, though. 49ers at the crib, got to have it. Simple as that. Nothing else to really say, but we got to have it. Then you got Monday night. This is a huge game for obvious reasons. Okay, right now the Eagles are leading this division and leading it pretty handily. Okay, everyone else is either 2 or less wins on the season in the division. Eagles have 4. Now they haven't had a bye week, but nonetheless they're 4-1. Everyone else is at 2 wins or less. So we're hoping that the Panthers take care of business on Thursday night. That's a huge Thursday night game. We're all going to be glued to our television sets because the Eagles are at Carolina. That's a huge game in the NFC. That's a huge game for us in terms of our division. If they don't get it done there and they fall to 4-2 and we beat the 49ers like we're supposed to, then that game on Monday night is for the lead in the division. It's for first place. They've already beaten us once. We can't afford to lose again to the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's a big game on Monday night. Could be for first place, could be not for first place. In any event, we need it. Whether the Eagles take care of business on Thursday night or not is of no consequence to us. We can't worry about what they're doing. I always tell you, worry about us. If we take care of us, everything will take care of itself. So whether they win or lose, it doesn't matter to us. We got to beat them on Monday Night Football. If they sweep us, it's going to be tough for us to win the division over the Eagles because then they own the tiebreaker over us. So we got to have it. We got to have it on Monday night. Then you look at that Cowboys game, the first time we see the Cowboys. So back-to-back games in the division. Sunday at home versus the Cowboys. Got to have it. They are not dead in this division. Just because they're 2-3, they are not dead. They go on their bye this week. Guess who they get after they come off their bye? Just like we did. The San Francisco 49ers. They're going to win that game. They're going to get to 3-3 on the season. They're going to be right back in the thick of things. They're not going away. So we need to take care of the Cowboys because it's tough to go and win in Dallas. We need to win at home. I talked to you earlier about taking care of home. Got to take care. We already lost a game in the division at the crib. We cannot afford to lose another one. Cannot afford to lose another one in the division at home. Can't happen. So we got to have that one. And then you go on the road to Seattle. Tough place to play. One of the toughest places to play in the league. At Seattle has been a house of horrors for us. We don't play well there. Most teams don't play well there. This Seattle Seahawks team is vulnerable this season, however. Much like every team in the league this season. So we can go to Seattle and win. But and I'm taking and you know how I am. I don't like taking a macro approach. I'm a micro guy. Next game in front of me is all I care about. Don't talk to me about a game 2 weeks down the line. But just looking big picture here. The next 4 games going to determine the direction of this season. The second quarter of our season, these next 4 games, going to determine the direction of our season. If we go 3 out of 4 in these next 4 games, we win 3 out of the next 4, which is very doable. You're 5-3. You're sitting pretty with a great shot at doing some things this season. You split these games, you win 2 out of the next 2, and you're 4-4. You're looking like a real mediocre average team after 8 weeks of football. We'll be in week 9 at that point and have played 8 games, and we'll be 4-4. You're mediocre. You're middle of the pack. You lose 3 out of 4 of these games, or worse, all 4 of these games, you're not a good football team. You're not a good football team. Simple as that. So this stretch of football, this second quarter of football, to me, is going to determine where our Redskins are heading in the 2017 season. You go to number 3, and I'm sticking with the macro approach, the big lens approach, and you know I hate doing this. This is not my favorite thing to do. You know I despise this. And I probably won't do this again the remainder of this season until we get a lot closer to the end of the season. But I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to move on. The Washington Redskins are one of 24 teams with a realistic chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. Yes, I just said that. There are 8 teams that I've counted that have 0 chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. The rest of the league have a legitimate shot. If you watch football this past weekend, then you know that the Jacksonville Jaguars went to Pittsburgh and stopped the mud hole in those boys and beat them 30-9 in Pittsburgh. If you watch football this week with the Redskins off, then you know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the New England Patriots dead to rights and let them off the hook. Patriots are not the same team. You look around this league, there aren't many dominant football teams. They're not. There aren't any teams that I look at in the NFC and say, we can't beat them. Last year, I would have told you, we can't beat Atlanta. We can't beat Green Bay in Green Bay. We can't beat Atlanta in Atlanta. I could have run off a number of teams. We couldn't beat Seattle in Seattle. Man, we can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime this season because the league is set up that way this year. There are no dominant teams. And even if we were to beat those teams, we wouldn't have been able to beat New England if we got to the Super Bowl. We wouldn't have been able to beat Pittsburgh if we would have gotten to the Super Bowl. We can beat anybody on that side of the bracket. We can beat anybody on this side of the bracket. And that goes for the other 23 teams that I said have a shot. They can beat anybody at any time, anywhere. The league is that wide open. Everybody has a chance except for 8 teams to win the Super Bowl this year. And we're one of those 24 teams that have a realistic shot, a legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, we're only 4 games into our season. Most teams have played 5 games. We've played 4. There are a ton of games left. 12 to be exact for us, 11 for most teams around the league. There are tons of football games left to be played. As we get deeper into the season, that number will dwindle from 24 to 16 to 12 to about 8 realistic teams with a shot to win the Super Bowl. But right now, the pool is big, and we're one of the teams in it. But I'm moving on. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles, they ain't with the shits this year. They're not. They are not with the shits this year. They are not playing around. They're not. Okay? We thought week 1 was an aberration. Yeah, they beat us. We'll get them back. But we still got to worry about Dallas and the Giants. No, Giants are dead. They're dead. They're buried. They're gone. Cowboys, we still got to worry about them. But they with the shits. Okay? They'll mess around and let the Rams come into their house and beat them. They'll blow a lead late and let Green Bay get them. They with the shits. Okay? The Eagles ain't with the shits right now. If they supposed to beat you, they beating you. We saw what they did to Arizona at the crib. If you've been watching football on this bye week, which you should have been, that was your homework. Watch football. They whooped the Arizona Cardinals' ass, a team that the Cowboys struggled with. Barely beat them. Granted, that was in Arizona, and they just beat them at home. I don't care. They dismantled an Arizona, and I don't think the Cardinals are that good. I've said that numerous times. It doesn't matter. They did what they were supposed to do to a team at the crib. They systematically took those boys apart with no remorse. No remorse whatsoever. 34-7. They went on the road. I know San Diego's 1, or Los Angeles is 1-4. The Los Angeles Chargers. That's not an easy place to go and win a game. They went over there and won. Their lone loss is to the 5-0 Chiefs. And they were in that game for 3.5 quarters till it got out of hand late. And even then, they didn't give up, and they made it a one-score game with a pending onside kick being the difference in that game, which they recovered and then threw a Hail Mary and almost caught it. The Eagles, they ain't with the shits this year, man. If we want the division, we're going to have to go through those boys. They not playing. They're not playing. Now, I'll say this until my face turns blue. We can't worry about what the Eagles are doing. They got some tough games coming up. We about to find out just how serious the Eagles are. Thursday night on the road versus Carolina. And then the following week, Monday night versus us. We got a chance in 2 weeks to take the Eagles down and bring them back down to earth. They lose on Thursday night, and then we beat them on the following Monday night. They're 4-3, and they right back down to earth where they belong. But the Eagles, I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't shock me if they won one or both of those games. They not with the shits this year, man. So we got to step our game up before they try to run away with the damn division like the Cowboys did last year. I'm not having that shit. We can't let anybody run away with this division. And right now, the only team looking to do so, Philadelphia Eagles. We got to throw that lasso out there, rope their ass, and bring them back. Hey, where the hell you think you going? We going to fight for this thing. You are not running away with this damn division. But they not with the shits, man. They are not with the shits this year. They just not. And finally, the number one takeaway from the Chiefs loss and the bye week, injuries. Damn it, man. We needed this bye week. We were in consensus as a fan base after that Chiefs game in that fact that we needed this bye week. The injuries were alarming in that Monday night game. But there are two injuries in particular that had us literally at the edge of our seats. Trent Williams, who needed an MRI after the game to determine if he was going to require surgery on his kneecap. And if he did, season was probably going to be over. We dodged a bullet. Wipe the brow. Wipe the brow. We dodged a bullet. His injury is termed as day-to-day, week-to-week. Just a bruise. And, of course, time, treatment. Don't know if he's playing this week. Which, right now, we can ill afford. Okay? With Ty and Seki out for the foreseeable future, with an injury that he sustained versus the Raiders, we cannot afford to have Trent Williams out. Hell, neither one of our tackles can be out of the game right now. Did you see TJ Clemens in the game versus the Chiefs? I think the man was in for like 3 snaps. The first snap he came in was on a 3rd and 4. And the man got beat immediately off the edge by Frank Zombo. Of all people, Frank Zombo smoked him. Frank Zombo doesn't sack quarterbacks. He doesn't. That's not what Frank Zombo does. But yet, he was ready to sack Kirk Cousins because TJ Clemens couldn't stop him from beating him off the edge. In the first snap, he was in the goddamn game. TJ Clemens stinks. Okay? We want him nowhere near the field unless he's in as a blocking offensive tackle or tight end on a play for more beef. Other than that, TJ Clemens is not supposed to see our field at any point for any reason. So if Trent Williams can't go, that's a problem. Without Ty and Seki, that is a huge problem. And then, of course, Josh Norman is the other one. Right now, the prognosis is he's going to be gone a month. We can't afford for him to be gone a month. I just showed you the next 4 games. Okay? So we'll count the bye week as 1 week, and he's not playing this week. So that's 2 weeks. I need him to come back for Monday Night Football. I need him back for the Eagles game. I need him. All right? I don't know about you. I need him back for the Monday night game. So work around the clock. Figure out what you got to do. Get the man ready to play. That'll be 3 weeks. They said it was 4 to 6. I need him ready in 3. I'm sorry. Got to have him. And if he can't play against the Eagles, he damn sure better be back versus the Cowboys. We can't afford to go out there against the Cowboys without him. Got to have him. Got to. So we'll see what happens there, but we got some injuries. Definitely got some injuries. DJ Swearinger came into the game with an injury. Obviously, a lot of our linebackers went down throughout the course of the game. I think we're fine. A lot of those injuries were minor bumps and bruises. A lot of them were cramps, guys. It was very humid in Kansas City. So I think a lot of guys went down in cramps. In any event, I think we're going to be fine. But that bye week couldn't have come at a better time. But just know, there is no another bye week. This is it. So we got to find a way to just navigate our way through this season staying healthy, because there is no another bye week. There is no, hey, if we could just make it to week 9, man, we got a bye week. Nah, this was it. So we got to find a way to navigate our way through this schedule and stay healthy, because we just used our get out of jail free card. We don't get another one. So let's get to some more of your comments before we get to the bow and go. Let's see what we got. SW Mike says, is everyone that was injured in that Chiefs game going to be back except Norman? I believe that to be the case. We're still waiting word for Trent Williams. He did not practice. I don't think he practiced or was out on the field. I think they had practice today. I could be wrong about that, but I think they had practice today, and he wasn't at practice today. So on the practice field. So we'll see. But I think everybody else that has been injured is pretty much a go right now. Jamison Crowder sounds like he's going to be okay. Josh Doxson, he's fine from all reports. Everybody else is fine. We're good. Jordan Reed seems to be progressing, coming along. He didn't re-injure himself, re-aggravate that injury. So by all accounts, everybody else is good to go right now. DC says, I think the Skins will win by a touchdown. I really think my Niners will be a team to beat in the near future. We're going to talk about those Niners, man. They're a pesky team. They're a pesky team. RG3 hashtag says, hey, if Josh Norman is out, why not sign Revis? I believe he still has a little juice. Nah, we good, man. I tell people this all the time. I don't want anybody's retread stuff. I don't want anybody's garbage out there. I'm good. If Revis still had something in the tank, he'd be on the team right now. He'd be on the roster. The reason Revis is not on the NFL roster right now is because people think he's washed up, and I think so too. I watched Revis get his ass whooped last year. I'm good. I'm going to pass. We got young stuff on this team, man. Don't go out there for an old retread, an old has-been. When you got young boys that's hungry to prove their worth on your roster, get the young boys a chance. No, I'm good. John Niner says, you guys win, but a close game, 28-21 Redskins. We'll see. DC says, our defense will get a momentum booster if Reed and Foster get back in week 6. Plus, we play better on the road. I hope you don't get Foster back. If you get Reed back, fine. I don't really care about him being back, even though it'd be a lot better if both of those guys could stay hurt for one more week. It'd make our job a lot easier. But I really don't want to see Reuben Foster be back. Not yet. Give me one more week. Give me one more week. Reuben Foster can come back, and Eric Reed, for that matter, can come back in week 7 versus the Cowboys. Mo L says, you think the Redskins defense will stay strong without Norman? And if so, you think Fabian will fill in an important role? Do you think Dunbar will step up? HTTR gang. I think they're going to give the role to Q-Bar. In Norman's absence, Q-Bar is the guy that's going to step in. He's a veteran. They trust him. They know what he's capable of. He's going to get the first opportunity to step in and fill that void, which he should. And I thought he did an admirable job in relief of Norman. In that Chiefs game, I expect nothing less from Q-Bar. So I'm good. I know what he's capable of, and I think he's going to come in and do the job. So I feel good about that. So let's go ahead and move on to the bow and go. Let's put a bow on this thing, man, and let's move on. Redskins bow and go. All right, so 2 weeks ago we lost to the Chiefs in a damn good football game. It was a hell of a football game, compelling watch. Even if you were a non-Redskins fan, that was a hell of a game to watch. Probably should have won that game. Really disappointing that we didn't find a way to win. The good teams in this league, the really good teams, find a way to win that game. You got to find a way, and that's the next step, is these close games against good teams on the road. You got to find a way to win. If we were at home, we probably win that game. But we were on the road, and we got to find a way to win against good teams on the road. That's the next progression of this football team. I talked about that Seattle game. In a month from now, I talked about that Eagles game. Next Monday night, those are road games. Got to find a way to win those. I have confidence that we can win games at home against good teams. I've seen us do it before. My confidence dwindles a bit when we go on a road against good teams because I don't know if we're there yet. That Monday night game was very disappointing in its nature, in the outcome, but it did allow me to see that this team has depth, because it was tested in that game and they hung tough. And it did also show me that this is a damn good football team here that we have. If we are able to eliminate the mistakes, we're a damn good football team. And so watching the rest of the league during the bye week, I saw that we're right there. We are right there. Watching the quote-unquote so-called elite teams, there are no elite teams this year. For the first time in over a decade, there are no elite teams. There are no teams that are a cut above the rest of the league. Every team in the league is vulnerable. Every team. The Patriots are vulnerable. The Steelers are vulnerable. The Packers are vulnerable. The Falcons are vulnerable. Everyone's vulnerable. Panthers, every team is vulnerable. And that means a team like us has a chance. So we go from the loss in the bye week to the upcoming week, week 6, versus San Francisco 49ers. So this is an interesting game for a number of reasons. One, Redskins are 10-point favorites right now to beat the 49ers. I don't like it. I don't like it at all because when's the last time we were double-digit favorites at home against any team? We weren't even double-digit favorites versus the Jaguars in 2014. So this is kind of scary for me. Second of all, don't allow people to lie to you and tell you that the 49ers are garbage. Don't listen to them. Yeah, they're 0-5. They're not a good football team. But they're not garbage. They're not a pushover. They don't know how to win. That's a fact. That's why they're 0-5. But they've been in ball games. Aside from week 1 versus Carolina where they lost 23-3, they've been in every single ball game. Their last 4 games, they've lost by a combined 11 points. They lost to the Seahawks 12-9. That's family business. Okay? So I pay that one no mind. That's family. They lost the following week to the Rams 41-39. More family business. I stay out of that. That's not my business. That's not my concern. I stay out of that. Okay? But then they go on the road the following week. More family business. They lose in overtime 18-15. More family business. Again, that's none of my concern, but yet another close loss. And then in week 5, they lose to the Indianapolis Colts on the road 26-23. Again, for the second week in a row in overtime. That's 11 points, folks. In 4 games, they've lost by a combined score of 11 points. This team is ultra competitive. They've got football players. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that we're going to just go in there, they're going to lay down for us, and we're going to blow them out. Don't think for 1 second that they can't show up to FedEx and beat our ass. We are not good enough to just show up and whoop ass yet. We haven't gotten to that point. And frankly, the way that this season is going, nobody is safe this year. I just told you that the Pittsburgh Steelers got their ass whooped at home by Jacksonville. New England has been pushed to the limit at home in every game this season. They have not beaten a single team handily at home this year. As a matter of fact, they've lost twice at home already this year. Or they've lost at home this season twice already. And should have lost 3-10. They should have lost all 3 of their home games already. And got dominated in the first one against Kansas City. Nobody's safe. Not even at the crib. So, miss me with the nonsense. Please. Don't let anybody hype you up and tell you that we just going to blow these boys. Now, ultimately, that may be what happens. But don't go into this game with the mindset, we better blow them out. We going to blow them out. Because you might have another thing coming. Because they got some stuff. They got some stuff. George Kittle, we have tight end problems. You know this. If you're a Redskins fan, you are aware of the fact that we got tight end problems. We can't stop tight ends. We got tight end problems. Travis Kelce ate our ass alive. 111 yards. About 7 catches, a touchdown. We got tight end problems, man. Zach Ertz ate us up in week 1. We got tight end problems. The only touchdown the Raiders scored in the game against us, you guessed it, to the tight end, Jared Cook Jr. We have tight end problems. Gerald Everett ate us up. That 69-yard catch and run down to the 5, that was a tight end. We have tight end problems. George Kittle ate the Indianapolis Colts ass up last week. But he wasn't the only one. He had friends. Marquise Goodwin can stretch the field. He's a burner. He's a track guy. World-class athlete. He had 112 yards receiving last week versus the Colts. Kicked their ass, including a beautiful deep ball that he caught in between 2 defenders. And we all know Pierre Garçon is the man. I don't need to tell you that. You already know. You already know. I don't have to tell you that. They got a fast-ass running back named Matt Breida that got the bulk of the carries because their lead dog is banged up right now. And Carlos Hyde. But if he hits a seam, this Breida dude can go much faster than slow. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that this 49ers team doesn't have talent and that we just going to steamroll these boys. Like I said, ultimately, that may be what happens. But don't go into the game expecting that to be the case. Because these 49ers are fighting every week. And eventually, they're going to jump up and bite somebody right in the ass. It better not be us. It better not be us. Now, defensively, they got a long ways to go. They got a lot of talent, but they still hasn't meshed and gelled together yet. We can take advantage of them on the offensive side of football. We need to. They don't get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. They may get some guys that can help them back, though. Eric Reed may be back this week at the safety position. They may get one of their first round picks, Reuben Foster, back at the linebacker position. I'm hoping that we get one more week without those dudes on the field. Even if one's got to come back, let it be Eric Reed. I don't want any parts of Reuben Foster. But in any event, the defense has a ways to go. We can take advantage of this defense. You can score on this 49ers defense. I've watched teams score on them this year. You can score on them. I watched Indianapolis move the football. I watched T.Y. Hilton eat their ass alive last week. I watched a guy that I absolutely love that the Redskins should have drafted that I'm pissed about. Marlon Mack. Kill those boys on the ground. 9 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown. So you can run the football on these boys. Again, if Reuben Foster comes back, that might not be the case, but we'll see. In any event, you can run the football on these boys. You can pass the football on these boys. We should be able to do what we need to do offensively. We should be able to have a breakout game offensively if we execute and we stay away from the mistakes. We should be able to have a big game offensively. But don't make any mistake about it. Offensively, they're doing some good things. And we know Kyle Shanahan is capable as a play caller. We know he's capable. So, please, do not sleep on these 49ers. Do not do it. Do not do it. Please. Don't let Vegas, don't let anybody tell you that these boys are trash and they're going to just come into FedEx and allow us to smoke them. Because that hasn't been the case this year. I just told you their last 4 outcomes, all within a field goal. 3 of those were family business. I get it. I understand. And I understand the Indianapolis Colts. They're not a really good team themselves. Still, they fought in all of those games. I'd much rather our game be more like the Carolina game in week 1, but there's no guarantee that that's what's going to be the case. So just prepare yourself for a close ball game. I don't give a damn how we get it. I want to blow these boys out. I want to win this one handily. I don't want to be sweating in the fourth quarter, late in the ball game. I don't. But I don't really give a damn how we get it. I just want to get it. Yeah, in the moment, we might be disappointed if we win this game 23-20 on a last-second field goal. But again, you just want to win. I don't give a damn. I just want the 49ers to leave this game still winless. That's it. That's all I care about. And when I say winless, I don't mean with a tie. I mean winless as in 0-6. Redskins get the dub, 3-2. We move on to Monday night versus the Eagles. That's what I'm looking forward to. We got to have it. Because 4 weeks from now, if we beat them, if we beat these boys 12-9, 4 weeks from now, guess what? Nobody's going to say, man, that 49ers win was sure ugly. Nobody gives a damn. All they're going to say is, yeah, they beat the 49ers a month ago. That's all I care about. Just get the dub. Yeah, we want it to look pretty and impressive. If we're a good team, we're supposed to dominate them at home. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. I just want to win. I don't give a damn how it looks. I just want to win. Survive and advance. That's what it's all about. Win. And this is a team that we're supposed to be at home. So win. Take care of business. Win. All right, y'all. Let's get to the final outcome. It's the final outcome. Whoa, yeah. Look, we got injuries like everyone else around the league does. We've been pretty fortunate. Our injuries haven't been catastrophic. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that because a lot of teams, we just saw Odell Beckham go down for the season. We just saw J.J. Watt go down for the season. We just saw Whitney Merciless go down for the season. We've seen players go down for the season, big-time, big-name players go down for the season. We've been able to avoid that. We want to continue to avoid that. We got injuries, but I think we're going to be more than healthy enough to take care of business at home. We need to be. And despite not having Josh Norman in this game, I think we're going to be fine defensively. We need to continue to get pressure on the quarterback. Look, the only way we lose this game is if we got a ton of mistakes. Mistakes are going to allow this 49ers team to hang in this ball game. Penalties, turnovers, mental mistakes, breakdowns, guys running wide open in the secondary, big plays. You minimize those, this 49ers team has a tough time scoring points in the red zone, just like we do. Just like we do. They got a tough time scoring. Took them 4 downs to score in the red zone versus the Colts to tie the game up at 23. They needed 4th down and they barely got it. They struggled just like we do in the red zone. So if you don't give up big plays, big chunk plays, and you force these boys to have to methodically, meticulously drive the football down the field, they're going to make a mistake at some point. Holding penalty, incomplete pass, a negative play. They're gonna self-destruct because that's what 0-5 teams do. But if you help them, you give them penalties that give them first downs, you give them turnovers that create short fields, you give them easy scoring opportunities with mental breakdowns, with open receivers running free down the field, it's gonna be a close game that you can't lose. You take care of the smallest, most minute details, and we'll be just fine, and we'll come out of this thing smelling like roses with a W that gets us over 500 at 3-2, heading into a colossal Monday Night Football matchup versus the Eagles. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the goddamn San Francisco 49ers trying to come into our house and get a W, which we ain't supposed to be having none of that. It ain't that type of party. And just like the thumbnail for this week says, hey, dear Kyle, not this week, bruh. Not this week. Signed, Redskins fans. Hey, Kyle, love you like a stepbrother, man. Wish you nothing but the best out there in the Bay Area. Not this week, bruh. Maybe next week. Not this week. Gotta take care of business. I expect us to score 30 for the first time this season. It may not be easy, it may not be pretty, but I expect us to score 30 for the first time this season. I expect us to score on 6 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and we finally get to 30. We start building some confidence offensively. We start doing some good things, and we hope that this spills over into Monday night and helps us go on the road against a tough, good Eagles football team and get a win. But again, I can't talk to you about that right now. All I care about is the team in front of us and that team standing in front of us, and potentially a first-place matchup on Monday Night Football versus the Eagles is the San Francisco 49ers. We need to take care of business. Got to get it done. So I'll get to your comments once more briefly, and we'll get the hell out of here. John Niner says, he says, not so fast, Louie T. I got the Falcons going back to the Super Bowl. That may happen, but they're not invincible. Last year, I didn't think there was a chance in hell that we could beat the Atlanta Falcons in the Georgia Dome. I don't see why we can't go in there and win. I don't see why we can't go in there and win. I feel like the defense is better. They're much improved. We got a shot to beat anybody, anywhere this year, because the defense is better. SW Mike says, our boy Pierre Garçon will be looking for blood. Are you worried about him? Yeah, I am worried about him. I am. Pierre is a beast, and it doesn't take much to inspire him. But him playing against us, definitely he wants, and he ate up his ex-team in the Colts. He killed them last week. I expect him to want to do that to us, just like he did to one of his former teams last week in the Colts. Let's get to some more comments before we get out of here. Blackbird Blitz says, wait, what? How tough is it to win a game in the Chargers Stadium? They play in a high school basketball gym, and there were more Eagles fans there than Chargers fans. Yeah, and it still was a tough game. Doesn't matter. You still got to travel all the way across the country to go play a game. You did not sleep in your own bed. You're playing in a foreign stadium. Yes, it was damn near a home game for the Eagles. I agree, but it's still not easy to go over there across the country and win. It's tough. When you're not at home, when you're not in your own bed, when you got to get on a plane and travel all the way across the country, it is not easy to win. It's not. The Eagles played a good game, and it was close. It's not like they blew the Chargers out. If the Chargers didn't make mistakes in that game, and that's what 1 and 4 teams do, make mistakes, they would have beat the Eagles. That was a good quality win on the road. It is what it is. DC Big Oso says, these 12 weeks will determine how good our depth is. Your thoughts? Absolutely. Hell, the next 4 weeks will determine how good our depth is. We banged up. No Josh Norman. We're going to find out just how much depth we have on this roster. Because some of these guys that were able to heal up over the bye week, they're going to re-aggravate some of these injuries. Not going to be. Once the season starts, no one is 100%. The remainder of the year, you're not 100%. So we're going to find out just how good our depth is. For sure. Jolt Warrior says, next 12 weeks are going to be a grind. Time to see what this team is really made of. 12 weeks is such a big picture. Narrow the focus down to the next 4 weeks. The next 4 weeks are going to really go a long way in determining the direction of this season. Then the next 4 games after that, gonna go even bigger. Because at that point, you pretty much know who you are as a football team. After 8 games, we pretty much know who everyone around the league is. Okay, I know who you are. I know who you are. We know who we are. So these next 4 games are going to tell a lot as to just how good the 2017 version of the Washington Redskins are going to be. Ron Cole III says, Giants have 3 receivers out for the season. That should be a W for the Skins. But let's focus on the 49ers and Eagles and get these Ws. I don't even want to talk about the Giants. The Giants aren't even on the radar right now. We don't play the Giants for like 2 months. So I don't even give a damn about the Giants right now. Like you said, I just want to focus on the 49ers, get this one, and then I want to turn my attention to the Eagles. But I don't care about the Eagles right now. I got tunnel vision. I just see 49ers. I just want to win that game. Brandon Williams says, do you think Kirk Cousins will leave for San Francisco next year? I do. I still do. Unless something changes dramatically throughout the next 12 games and into the postseason, I still see Kirk Cousins bolting for San Francisco. I do. Nothing has changed right now. RG3 hashtag says, Pryor said some Chiefs fans were calling him racist names. That's why he was mad. But to me, I think he was mad because they were calling him trash for dropping them passes. I mean, they probably were spitting out racial slurs to him. That doesn't surprise me. You'd be surprised at what you hear at sporting events in general, not just NFL games. People, when they know you can't get to them, say the most craziest shit. Same thing you see with trolls on the internet. Man, people, they get keyboard courage because they know you can't do nothing to them. So they type in the craziest shit. I've had people call me some of the craziest stuff for no reason. It happens. So it doesn't shock me. Peter Parker says, we are going to whoop up on them boys, Lou. The Skins is a different team, a different animal this year. Division champs, I'm calling it. I hope you're right. I'm not as confident as you are, but I hope you're right, man. DC Big Oso says, it won't matter if Hoyer is planted into the ground. We can pressure their O-line. I think we can. I feel confident that we can get after them, make him uncomfortable, force him into some mistakes. But if he gets into a rhythm, like he did last week in the second half versus Indianapolis, they got weapons. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Amic89 says, stop it. You know we're going to beat the shit out of them. Laughing my ass off. Stop it. And there y'all go with this supreme confidence, which I don't know why you have this. If you haven't learned anything as being a Redskins fan over the last decade, it's that you should never feel safe. This team should never instill enough confidence in you to the point where you feel like you're superior to any team. We thought we were good enough to smoke the Browns last year. We should have lost to the Browns at home in this very same game. I think it was like week 6 last year when we played the Browns at home when Terrell Pryor came to the house, whooped Josh Norman's ass in the first half. Their running game was killing us. And if not for Hugh Jackson outsmarting himself and handing the football off to a damn fullback and him fumbling, we lose the goddamn game. I don't understand why y'all, all of a sudden y'all think we just gonna blow these boys. Y'all know better, man. Rocksteady 1974, the great, says, yo, Lou, I'm not sold on Kendall Fuller. What do you think? He's been burnt too many times in the slot. He's coming along. Give him a chance. He's getting better. Yeah, he's getting beat. At times he's getting beat. But he's getting better. He had a pick, his first career pick versus the Raiders. He's coming along, man. And as I always employ fans of various teams, not just this fan base, but if you're a fan of a team, give young players a chance to mature. I think sometimes we look at other teams' stuff. We'll see this team draft a first-round corner, and that guy turned out to be a stud right off the jump. And we're like, why isn't our guy that good? You look at another team's rookie receiver and see what they're doing, and you look at Josh Doxson. Why is Josh Doxson out? Is he garbage? Is he a bust? Everybody doesn't mature at the same rate as a player. The light bulb doesn't come on for everybody at the same time. Some guys aren't going to be good. Other guys come into their own at some point. It may not be with us. It may be with another team. It may be with us. You just got to give him time. I think he's coming into his own this year. I actually like him. Cloud says, San Fran, a sneaky team. They will get a win eventually. Absolutely. I just hope it's not in week 6. Cloud also says, not against y'all, though. I hope that is the case. I don't think it will be either. But, again, you just never know in this league. DC says, I'm impressed with the O-line of the Niners. Massive improvements. You got some big guys, man. Trent Brown is massive. He's slow-footed, though, which gives me hope that a guy like Junior Gillette may be able to beat him off the snap. But if he gets his hands on you, he is a massive 6'8", about 370 pounds. Guy's a colossal right tackle. That's a big offensive line, but I think we can do some things against them. Marcus Purnell, my man, what's going on, MP? Been a while. Says, are you going to print the T-shirts or am I? You got me on that one, MP. Amic89 says, our defense was trash last year too. It was. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I still need to see more. I'm not convinced that we aren't above allowing an inferior team to come into our house and make it a close ball game that we got to scratch, claw, and barely eke out. I don't think we're above that yet. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Zimba Sexy One says, Yo, as a Skins fan, you guys are getting too confident. I'm starting to feel like we might lose this game. Everybody needs to calm the F down anyways. Hashtag HTTR. That's how I feel. I don't think we're going to lose, but I think y'all are way too confident. And I don't know why in hell you feel empowered enough to think that we're good enough to blow anybody out. Even an 0-5 49ers team. That's just crazy to me. DC says, big Trent Brown surprised me big time. Watch out for him on the O-line. Please don't sleep on the Skins fans. Yeah, and I just talked about Trent Brown too. Lion Fire says that Chiefs game, after that Chiefs game, the Redskins are going to be hungry. I hope you're right. They should be hungry every week. It shouldn't just take a loss to be hungry. We're supposed to be hungry every week looking for dubs. And hopefully we get one this week. Boba Sis says, LOL, being a Skins fan is like suffering from a case of battered wife syndrome. Not funny. I think you know where I'm going with this, but I still think we're going to win on Sunday. I know exactly where you're going with that, man. Hey, I feel the same way, kind of, sort of, you know what I mean? Like, they say they're not going to do it again, but you know they're going to do it again. Until they don't do it again, I can't believe it. DC says, hey, man, nothing but love and respect for you, man. Hey, I appreciate that, man. And good luck to y'all the rest of the season, just not on Sunday. Rocksteady 1974 says, I don't like this game. Feels like a trap. It is a trap game. That's why we got to show that we're better than falling into the trap. You can see this trap from a mile away. Every hallway got some crack in it. Don't get trapped in it. All right? We got to do our best to avoid the trap. We see it there. We see the trap. Don't step in the damn trap. In the past, we would step in the trap, talk about how bad it hurts, and barely get the damn trap off our toe in enough time to win the game. How about we just go around the damn trap? Leave that trap there for somebody else, like the Cowboys next week. We don't need that trap. Go around the goddamn trap. Gregory Lightbody says, who do you think we should keep in the offseason? Too far in the future for me to talk about the offseason. Too much football. We in week 6 of the NFL season. Too much football left to be played for me to be talking about the offseason. DC Big Oso says, it's cool to be confident, but please don't be delusional. Save that for the Cowboys fans. Hey, look. Couldn't have said it better myself. I'm not going to be delusional. I know that this team is capable of losing to anybody. We are capable of beating anybody, but we are in the same breath capable of losing to anybody. So, with that being said, I expect us to win, but I am nowhere near confident enough to sit here and tell you that it's going to be a blowout, and I know confidently we're going to blow these boys. Nah. Not coming out of my mouth. Marcus Purnell says, I am very biased, but I can't wait to see how my hometown kid, Josh Holsey, responds to being the next man up. Hashtag Bart Scott. I like that young fella. And I think that guy has immense talent. We're going to see how it goes down. I'm going to tell you this much. We got talent on this team, and our depth is going to be tested over the next 4 weeks. I look for these young fellas to respond. And I look for the Redskins to respond to a heartbreaking loss with an emphatic victory. I look for them to do that. Will I get that? Will I get the satisfaction of being able to rest easy in the fourth quarter of this game on Sunday? I can't tell you that right now. I hope I do. I can't tell you that we will. Rocksteady 1974 says, I was late getting here. Did you speak on our running back situation? Briefly, I did. Everyone's going to be back. I don't want to talk about Matt Brown anymore because they refuse to play him. So I'm not going to sit here and advocate for Matt Brown to get more touches and see the field and just be active. Because if he's not active in a game in which Rob Kelly is dealing with ribs and ends up hurting his ankle, Samaje Perine was coming off an injury in the Raiders game previously, and you didn't know what you were going to get out of him. And you don't want to overwork Chris Thompson. If he can't be active in that game prior to the bye, I don't know when he's going to be active. All I did say earlier was that Kirk Cousins can't be our leading rusher. In the 2 games he's been our leading rusher, we've lost both games. We need more consistent production out of our running backs. I feel like if Rob Kelly just stays healthy, we'll be fine at the running back position. Even though I was trying to run him out of the starting position in form and in favor of Samaje Perine, I've changed my mind. Even though I don't think Samaje Perine is bad, I actually thought he ran well versus Kansas City. I think Rob Kelly gives us the best opportunity at the running back position right now to maximize what the offensive line is doing. So we'll see. Marcus Purnell says, free Mac Brown t-shirts on sale now, LOL. Hey, man, we could have made a killing off of them things, man. Free Mac Brown t-shirts. That is the perfect way to end this show, man. My man MP is a dang old fool. And with that, I am a Redskins fan etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. Looking forward to a very competitive football game. I hope it's not. I hope we dominate these boys, but I'm not foolish. I've been a Redskins fan for far too long to expect anything but a competitive football game that we got to find a way to win in the fourth quarter. That's what we do. We play competitive games that we find ways to either win or lose in the fourth quarter. I don't see this being any different, but we'll see what happens. In any event, I just want to come back the next time that we reconvene on the R3. I just want to come back and be talking to you about a win. I don't want to be dressed in all black like the Omen because you know what that means. I need to be wearing either burgundy, gold, or white. All right? And with that being said, you know the deal. Go get them, fellas. Bring home the dub. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Or some of y'all tomorrow for winners and losers. Or Thursday for Thursday Night Football overtime. But for the rest of y'all, I'll see y'all Sunday. Hopefully talking about the Redskins being 3-2 heading into Monday night in a pivotal game versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll see you then. Have a good one.